Hi, it's Greg Burdine, pastor of Faith Baptist Church in Adrian, with a Bible verse for your Friday, Good Friday that we're having today. Hope you're having a good day, maybe a little bit of rain, but at least we're not getting some of that stuff that they're getting out. We're in Bermuda, that hurricane that's kind of trying to go through, uh, you know, and I think they're having some thunderstorms in part of the Midwest, so I think we'll be okay. Hopefully you're having a good Friday and looking forward to a great weekend. But I've been looking at some Bible verses that have to do with family, and I'm going to share one with you. You know, when you get into Paul's epistles, he kind of repeats himself a few times, especially when he deals with relationships. He talks about parents, he talks about husbands and wives, he talks about children, he talks about slaves and slave owners, which we can kind of apply that was just the system they had back then, and we can kind of apply that to any other kind of authority, submission kind of relationship that we have. And so several times in Colossians, Ephesians, Galatians, he deals with this. And the one I chose for today is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. It's one of my favorite as far as parenting because it kind of talks a little bit about what we're supposed to do as parents of children, and we can think of it as grandparents as well. We can kind of do a little bit of this, but the main responsibility of raising a child is on the parents. And this is what he says in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 4. And he puts the primary responsibility on the fathers. I think that's interesting because when we think of parenting, we think of children, I do, naturally think of moms. Moms are those that are caring and loving and spend the time with the kids, usually. But Paul kind of points at the fathers. Maybe part of the reason is because it's real easy for us as dads to pawn the children to the moms. And I think Paul says, no. This isn't a mom's job. This is a parenting job. Dads, you've got some responsibility as the biblically the head of the home. This is what he says, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. And you fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. I just think it's just really insightful what Paul says. He says to the fathers, don't cause your children to be angry. It's easy to do that as an authority figure because you're the authority. Most of the time, dads, moms, you're bigger than the kids. You know more than the kids. You hold the purse strings. You say what you can't do. And it's really easy to rely on force or on anger to control children and get children to do what you want them to do. But anytime you sequester somebody, anytime you kind of constrict people to a big degree, they just get angry, and they can't react. And that's suppressed anger can cause bitterness. And what he's saying is be careful. Having a rule, not having a rule. Sometimes enforcing a rule, not enforcing a rule. Being nice, up and down, in and out. You cause frustration in your children to talk to them. And so don't cause them to be angry. And I don't know if you've noticed it. I think we have this almost an angry generation that they're mad at everything and they're going to take it out on something. And we need to try to bring peace into our family. So he says, don't do that. Don't cause your children to be angry. But then what else it says is bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Nurture is the tenderness. Bring them up in the tenderness, the nurture, the care, and the admonition. Admonition is a little bit beyond just teaching them what God wants them to do. It's challenging to admonish, to exhort, to kind of really get into them to do the right thing. And so a tenderness and an admonition to do the things that God wants them to do. Almost like a tender plant. I know it's way past that, but when you go to the nursery and they give you the little bitty starter plants and they're only about that big, and you put them in and you have to take really good care of them. Even the little trees, you have to stake them and have to be very careful because They haven't taken root yet. And that's what children are. They're very tender. They need some extra kind attention. And that's what we do with children. Be careful about causing them to be angry by our actions. Sometimes they are going to be angry, but don't let them get bitter and hold an of anger against parents or against any authority, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Such a wonderful, wonderful thought for the day. Have a great Friday.